What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cookie DAO today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Cookie, shout out to Channing if you're watching this, Channing. Love you, brother. Here we are on the 28th of August with about 10 hours and 6 minutes left. I didn't know you watched these videos, Channing. 13.3 cents is the price, and I very much do believe that we're going to recover. I have a friend in the real world who is asking me if I see Cookie DAO recovering, and I absolutely do, you guys. Cookie DAO is one of my most, what's the word I'm looking for? Highly anticipated prospects of this cycle, actually. I think that it's going to do very well. And again, shout out to Ivan on Tech. It's been a while since I've done this, but shout out to Ivan on Tech for putting this on my radar and thus putting it on everyone's radar, man. I didn't know anything about Cookie DAO, never heard of it until he talked about it. I want to say he talked about it. I don't know if it was here, or he talked about it throughout here, and then it pumped. He started talking about it back here and then talked about it. He's been really talking about it periodically since it started to show some life again. So shout out to Ivan on Tech, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never heard of this project. Or maybe I would have. I don't know. I do skim the comments for people's requests, and we look into things. But all in all, looking at this here from a low to high, moving on there, we are at the golden ratio. We have found support. We look at the 3 day, we look at the weekly, and we have 3 days, 11 hours left in this week. It's actually more like three days, 10 hours left. And that is a pretty big wick to the downside that we have, right? We moved all the way back up after finding this low. That's a proper reaction. That's what you want to see whenever you find a low. We had the same thing going last week. Hopefully by the end of this week, we got about half a week left. Hopefully we can come up and close this week green and push through. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a lower wick and we bullishly engulfed, if we could close above like 15 cents this week? I think that'd be a good goal to have. Ultimately, though, the goal on a weekly standard would be to close above here. When we get above about 15.3 cents on a weekly standard closing basis, not just getting above there, but closing above there on a weekly basis, that would very much promote the idea that this low is in and that we're ready to go higher, okay? Because that's kind of that shelf. You see, shelf of support here, you broke below it, all hell broke loose. Shelf of support here, you broke below it, all hell broke loose. Whenever you broke above it, boom, to the heavens we go. I would assume that we have a lot of growth to go, but I want to get into that at the end of the video. We're going to go over the short-term stuff real quick, okay? Looking at this on a 1 hour time frame here, the 1 hour RSI, at the moment it is taking a bullish posturing. Overall, it's very volatile. You can tell that it's a very volatile, neutral kind of thing because you're getting oversold, overbought, oversold, oversold again, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought. Now we're not getting oversold. That's nice. That's actually pretty nice. I'd say it's volatile with a bearish stance, but here you're finding support at the 40. That's nice. That's really good stuff. Higher lows, higher highs. Let's get overbought again. Let's get 2 overbought iterations without getting oversold. I think that'd be really nice. And hopefully deeper into the overbought zone. We want to get deeper, not these little shallow pipsqueak moves into the overbought zone. We want to get deep in there. Looking at this here, I think that we will. This to me looks like we've moved up. We've had a nice little kind of like flag out, and we're ready to continue to push higher. So that's the goal here. Let's get up to, again, I think 1.53 cents. Whether it's by the end of this week or by the end of next week doesn't really matter, but the sooner the better. Looking at this here, on the stochastics, we don't have bearish momentum or bearish divergence. I guess it is technically bearish divergence, but I don't know. Let's see how it goes. This is a pretty fierce candle right here. We have 3 minutes left. Maybe we come down a little bit. You know, looking at the 1 hour time frame, maybe we come back down to like 13.1 cents. We're at 13.3 cents down, but very negligible amounts. Nothing crazy. I doubt we see a lower low than this, but even if we do, who cares? We could go down to 12.5 cents and still be fine. That's totally fine if we go down to 12.5 cents. The MACD is bouncing off the zero, which is very bullish, phenomenal, in fact. So I'd love to see that. Getting a sense of continuation from both the RSI and the MACD. A little bit of a pause from the stochastics, and that's fine. The 4 hour time frame here, if we're looking at this, the stochastics are dilly-dallying, which we don't like to see. Typically, you want to get oversold right into the overboughts, and you don't want to dilly-dally here. So that's a little bit concerning, but it's not a concern. It's not such a concern that we can't go higher. I mean, here we dilly-dallied and we still got overbought, and we persisted there for a little bit. So it's not detrimental. But what I will say is I'd like to see us get overbought, right? Looking at the RSI, the RSI here is neutral with a bearish effect, right? If we're drawing this, we encapsulate what we've been doing, right? I feel like most of the time you have been below the 50. Here you're even getting oversold, where here you're not really getting overbought too much. But it is pretty neutral overall. Let's be fair. It is pretty damn neutral overall on the 4 hour time frame there. That's why the price has been moving sideways, essentially, right? A little bit bearish, and you move down a little bit more, but nothing too crazy. The MACD here is going to be very unreliable, but I would say that once we cross above the 0 and really get away from this area, once the oscillators get above this high, that should be a very exciting moment here, right? We're saying this high because you've been so neutral and sideways that the MACD is a little bit less reliable, so we need a little bit more of a powerful signal. So get above that high in the MACD. That doesn't necessarily mean get above this high in the price, but either way, get above that high in the MACD, get above that high in the price. Either thing or both things together would be very bullish in itself. You look set up, looking at the MACD, you look set up to move higher. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it, you know? Do it. I think it looks good. I think it looks good. But again, if we were to go down to about 13 cents, even 12.5 cents, I think that that's fine. As long as we don't go lower, I think that we're in good shape, and it's to move up higher rather immediately, okay? Even if we do go lower, I think we're fine, but I'm not expecting that right now. And it would take away the glorious look of this week overall, this weekly look that we have now. So ideally, over the next 3 days, we push higher and not lower. Daily time frame stochastics look like they do want to go higher. I like that. The MACD is neutral, so who cares? I mean, we got the potential to come up. We found support here, and then we moved up. We're at the same area now. Maybe that's what we do. The RSI is in a downtrend, but it's kind of shifting that downtrend, isn't it, right? You had a lower high, lower low here, and you're shifting it into a sideways trend, right? Little blemish there. That might shift into an uptrend overall. I really wouldn't be surprised going into September if we saw some glorious upside take place with Cookie DAO. And then looking at the weekly time frame, talking about where we're going to go as far as the highs go. You know, we look at the indicators here. The MACD's right at the 0 line where we like to find support, so that's beautiful. It's a great thing. Stochastics are oversold. That's not necessarily nice, but you're at the same area that you found support before. You have higher lows overall, so that's a nice trajectory there. And then the RSI is neutral, so we're not really getting a whole lot off of that. But looking at the price action, assuming that we do go higher, and I do assume we go higher, my expectation would be that we see prices all the way up at $1.65 to $3.90, somewhere in that zone, either by the end of September or sometime in October. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. And from a high to a low here, we've got all kinds of noises going on in my house. High to low here, the last move that we had went all the way up to the 1618, just below there, in fact. We went just below there. So if we were to do the same thing here, that might promote the idea that we go to $3.90. Back here, during this move, I was a lot more skeptical of going to $3.90. I was thinking that's too big of a move. We're probably going to stop just above the 1414, and that's going to be it. Told you there's all kinds of noises. We're probably going to go just above the 1414, and that's going to be it. But the fact that we've consolidated longer, and really just overall since that last high we've consolidated in this area, I really wouldn't be surprised if we went all the way up to the golden ratio. So that's kind of the expectation at this point in time, is that we will stop. $1.65 is the minimum target, but really I think we'll go somewhere between $2.50 and $3.90, if not at $3.90 itself. We're at 13.36, 13 cents, 0.36. That growth would give us an overall minimum of about a 12x and a maximum of about a 29x, which is going to be spectacular, okay? So yes, absolutely I believe in Cookie DAO. Absolutely I believe we've got a lot more growth to go. And I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this thing was worth $20 or more by the end of the cycle, which at this point would be about 150x or higher. So a lot of potential here. Absolutely profound potential. Just got to be patient. What we're doing right now is consolidating right here, right? Finding support at prior resistance back here. It's very good structurally speaking. It's just boring. It's shaking people out. Too many people were put on notice about it over here. Too many people got excited and bought up here. You got to shake them out. Shake out those weak hands. Let the strong hands step in and buy, and they are buying. And then boom, we'll rip through the freaking roof. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.